stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? At point blank range, who done stepped in the game? Stepped in the game, stepped in the game.
Yes, it's also time to do some bull cutting. While it is true that this game may indeed be available for the Wii U in the future, because we all know Nintendo games need to meet cert by Nintendo standards first before they can be announced as part of their non-disclosure agreements and their developer policy. Now, if that is not the case, then there's a grave failure when it comes to business decisions over at Warner Brothers Interactive. Why would I say that though? Wii U isn't selling that great. Wii U isn't selling that great, and you know, hey, maybe they'll have some issues porting that type of game over there. You know, I find that I can't find any of those excuses valid. Let's go down a list of things here. So the first thing, can this game be developed in time for Wii U? Well, let's see. It's developed for the Xbox 360, which is pretty much very close to Wii U on the specifications table with regards to the type of CPU that's there, power architecture, although it's much more advanced on the Wii U side. You have DDR3 RAM versus GDDR3 in the Xbox 360, and a small pool of EDRAM. Obviously, it's over 3 times the amount in Wii U, but that should make things a lot easier porting from 360 to Wii U. So technically, on the technical side, that shouldn't be an issue. Even if you're porting down from quote-unquote the real next-generation consoles, you have one of the greatest things to ever happen to Wii U, and that's the Xbox One, which has the same DDR3 RAM pool, ESRAM instead of EDRAM, as far as their fast memory pool for their frame buffer. It's also 32 megabytes. So you can take that same RAM pool that you would use to do the frame buffer for the Xbox One and do the same thing on the Wii U, and have 2 high-end games for a fraction of the cost. The CPU end, yes, you would have to spend the time to convert your code from little endian to big endian for the Wii U to be able to see it. And you'll have to deal with the cache that the Wii U has on board, which will be part of that EDRAM pool, as well as the increased L1 and L2s that are already there. That's the technical side. What other excuse is there? Because technically, yeah, we can go ahead and port it. Oh, well, you know, the development staff. We can't find the development staff that, you know, could really get that game done in time. Really? I find that kind of interesting because, let's see. We can go down the list here, and it looks like we have Lego Batman 2, DC Superheroes, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Lego City Undercover, and a bunch of Wii games, several Wii games, all the Lego Harry Potter games, Lego Batman, any of those type of games have been done on Nintendo hardware. So there's obviously a dedicated team there to port Lego games. I think they would know a little bit about the Wii U hardware to help bring over an in-house engine from NetherRealm Games. I think they would be able to port it, even if NetherRealm didn't want to bother to do it themselves. And obviously this decision isn't really by NetherRealm themselves, this is by Warner Brothers, the chief guys going on sitting at the boardroom, so they can make this decision. Now what's the other excuse? Oh, the Wii U games haven't sold well. Really? Last I checked, all the Lego Batman games have done pretty well, despite being very cheap for these guys to manufacture. They have no problems making sure that at least a Nintendo platform is covered whenever they release any of their titles on consoles. If there isn't one for the Wii or the Wii U, there's definitely one for the DS or the 3DS, isn't there? Oh man, I tell you, my katana's getting kind of heavy over here. Guess I need to start getting chopping. What other excuses can we think of? What other excuses could there possibly be not to put Mortal Kombat on the Wii U? The controller. No, I think that's already been covered by my good man and good friend there, Zen Gamer, because there are almost unlimited control options on the Wii U. Those games don't really sell that well on that platform, and the last fighting game we put out on the Wii U didn't really sell that well. Is that right? What was the last fighting game that came out on the Wii U that team had put together? Oh, you mean Injustice Gods Among Us. That game sold less than 100,000 copies. And rightfully so. Why do I say that? Well, you released it at a time where there were only 3 million Wii U's around. And this is a new console. And everybody bought it for the 360 and the PS3 that was going to buy it. So I guess what's off-putting about that is there are over 160 million PS3s and Xbox 360s out there. Yet, only about 2 million copies were sold total between the two of them. 2 million out of 160. That's not really good. To me, if I do the numbers correctly in my head, that would mean the tie-in ratio for those consoles is significantly smaller than the tie-in ratio for the 90,000 or so that sold on the Wii U. Even more interesting is that you decided to announce this game for the Xbox One. The Xbox One being a console that sold as weak as or weaker than the Wii U in its first 5 months of availability. It's claiming 4.1 million sold to retailers. We all know it's somewhere in that 3.3, 3.4 million range sold to consumers that the Wii U is still in. And they still are having trouble selling. And that's with a killer app available. Wii U didn't have a killer app in its first 5 months. So I wonder exactly how the Xbox One with a killer app that didn't really push units with way more hype than the Wii U had when it launched. I mean, people basically laughed it off and said wait till next year, according to the majority of the press. Yet, we can announce a game for this platform that, despite all the hype, still didn't sell the way that it was supposed to. And in addition to that, how well have games been selling on the Xbox brand versus the Wii and Wii U brand? I wonder. Something tells me it's not going to be in your favor. But you know what? It doesn't really matter. Because at the end of the day, whatever decision you come up with, you're full of shit. And therefore, we also cut the bill on